Hey Jim, how you doing today? Well, I'm gonna actually try to fix the broken door lock on the truck. Um, I'll try to not get uh, all preachy and political today, but I do want to remind you that exactly 1 month ago today, there were 15 confirmed coronavirus cases in the United States, and President Trump said during a infamous news conference that don't worry, because it's going to be going down to zero real soon. Didn't really work out for him. Okay, that's it. I won't do any more of that. While everybody is locked up at home, it's kind of starts wearing on you. I know my wife is now working from home, and she's not really liking it that much. I'm retired. I'm retired from the movie studios, so it's not really that much different of a pace for me, but for her, it certainly is. And I kind of feel sorry for her on that front. You got to kind of keep a schedule. So you can't just, fall into like I joked the other day about being like a Las Vegas casino where you don't know what day it is or what time it is. You got to keep a schedule to keep some normalcy in your life. So, and another big rule around here is no alcohol before noon. Absolutely no alcohol before noon. And I know you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, but the rule is no alcohol until after 12 noon. So you should just try to keep up a regular schedule, get up with your alarm and do some exercise and, go out and fix something. So like what I do is I set my alarm for noon, and then I get up and I do a little exercise, and then I'm out here and I'm going to try and fix something. Okay. I'm retired from the movie industry, and if you're really bored, you can look me up on imdb.com. My name is Scott Garrett, and yeah, there's a couple of them out there, but I'll be the one that it says I'm notable for, like Face Off, or it's like 40 movies or something like that. Feel free to look it up. If you have any questions about any of those movies, put it in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them, because I got plenty of time on my hands right now. Another good thing that I decided to do is I've decided that I'm going to take my wife out once a day, starting today. We're going to go out once a day, and she's going to videotape me doing a burnout somewhere. She really enjoys that. She really does. I'm not kidding. She thinks that's just great fun. So I suggest you do the same. Another thing I suggest, watch all of the Coen Brothers movies. All of them. They're all just spectacular. Go through the whole catalog. You've got time. And then go out and fix something, like we're going to do right now. This is my beautiful Ford F-250. It's the 1999. And you'll see here, when I push the lock button, it buzzes. I don't know if you can hear the buzz, but it does not lock. So we're going to take this door panel off and see if we can dig in and find the actuator and replace it. I've got a new one. So it looks like the first thing I'm going to do is pull that thing off. It just comes right off, just like that. And then this thing is the same deal. Just pull it up and forward. And I'm going to have to unplug all these wiring harnesses. Looks like they've all got little clips on the side. So I'm going to put the camera down for a minute and unplug these. All right, I got all the plugs undone. So I can set this aside. And looks like there's a bolt here. And I'm gonna have to pry this off, and I think there's a bolt behind there. Indeed, there is a little bolt right there. Looks like it's probably about a 7 or an 8. And let me get my socket set. Here are my new guys. There is a right. It's got the R. And a left. And we're doing the left today. So this will be the one we're hopefully putting in. They are 7s. So I'm going to remove both of those bolts very carefully. All right, I think that's it. I think all I got to do now is, I think it just lifts up. Yeah, look at that. Right off. Yeah, nice. Okay, so let me go put this trusty door panel down. Sure came off pretty easy. And then I'll peel back this. Looks like it's already loose, so I'll peel back this dust cover and see if I can see where the actuator is. I imagine it'll be somewhere right below the lock here. Well, I've kind of looked around up in there, and it's not in line with the actual lock rod here. It looks like it's actually attached to the back side of this whole latch assembly right about behind where my finger is here. So I'm going to remove these 3 torque screws to let this latch loose, and then I can hopefully swing it over and see how to take the actuator off. Okay, you know, this is starting to look a little more involved than I was expecting. So I think I'm going to be smart, and I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to go watch. Hopefully there's a couple of videos online already about how to do this, because I don't want to take the door handles off and all of that if I don't have to. Looks like I have to, but I'm going to go watch a video, and I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay, I watched a couple of videos, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I think what I'm going to do here is pull this rubber plug, and that will allow me, probably can't see it, it's too dark, but there's one of the nuts that holds the outside door handle on. This guy is accessible right through here, and the other one is accessible through here. You can see it back there behind the window track. So I'm going to pull those 2 off, and I have already removed 2 of these and loosened the third one. These are T27 Torx, and I don't know what size these are going to be quite yet. So we see that that's a nut back there that I've got to get, and we know I'm getting the one out of this hole, and there's a real risk of it coming out of the socket and falling down into the inside of the door. Probably wouldn't be that hard to get it out of this particular door, but in some doors it's a real pain. So sometimes I'll take like an index card or a playing card and roll it like this and shove it in the hole, and that way when I stick my socket in, if the nut falls out, it'll just fall into this card and I can tilt it and get it out. Or the other way is what I'm going to be doing here today, where I've actually crammed a piece of butyl into my socket, and these are 11 millimeter nuts, by the way. And what I've done is I've crammed some of this butyl into the socket, and that butyl is the actual sticky rubber that you use to install a windshield, and it's really useful stuff. I use it for all sorts of other things other than windshield installations, but that's what I've done. I've crammed a blob of it into my socket, so when I put it in there, it'll grab that nut, and in theory the nut won't fall out as I'm withdrawing it from the door. Just like that. Come on, baby. Ooh, that barely fits through that hole, so it's really good that I have the butyl in there, because it's stuck. So I could even bang it into the hole a little bit. Come on. There we go. So I'll fluff that up a hair more and go in for this other one. Okay, well, the window track there definitely blocks access to this lower nut. So I just reached up inside and got it with a little box wrench. And it worked out just fine. Okay, so this door handle is undone. So now got to figure out how to disconnect some of these rods from the back. It's probably going to take two hands. I'll show you what I've done after I've done it. You know, I can see it plain as day from here, so maybe I don't have to disconnect everything. The videos I watched, they completely took all of these connecting rods off and had all of this stuff laying on the bench when they finally removed the actuator from the latch. But I wonder if I can do it without taking all this out. One thing I should probably touch on real quick here is if you're one of those people that are real worried about your paint, then before you start all of this stuff with the door handle, you probably should put some a couple of layers of heavy masking tape or something around here. Otherwise, when you have this out, you risk all of this stuff banging on your paint job and scratching it up. That's not really a problem here, so but for your truck it might be. I think I'm going to get away with this because if you look closely down there, you can see that it's actually the actuator has started to slide towards me. I have this little screwdriver down in there prying back the little tab. Let me show you. This is the new one. And what I've done down there is you have to pry this tab here on the bottom up in order for it to release, and then the whole thing slides this way. So instead of taking all of that out and disconnecting all of these rods and all of this crap that everybody else seemed to do, I just stuck this long screwdriver. It's a really thin little screwdriver, and I got it in there and pried the tab here up, and then I went down from inside here and used another screwdriver to get in between and kind of push it forward. Like you can see, it's about halfway off here. So I'm thinking I should be able to have that actuator off of there in just a minute, and then I can fly it over to the opening here and disconnect the wires, and hopefully that'll work. Okay, that worked. So the actuator is separated from the door latch, and I'm going to see if I can move it around. I see there's like a wiring harness mount that's attached to it. It looks like. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, but I got it off without disconnecting any of this other stuff, so yay. Yeah. The hardest part is prying off this harness mount from it, and I did have to take there it is, and I did have to take the lock, the rod from the lock that went down into here. I had to undo that because it was blocking the wiring harness on this, and then the plug on the bottom of this thing is it's got a little clip on the very bottom that you have to pry down, and then the plug pops right out. That's pretty slick. Came out without taking all that shit apart. Now let's see if I can get it back together. There is the plug for the bottom. Come on, focus. There we go. Sort of. It's got a clip on the bottom, as you can see, that you have to pry downward in order for it to unplug from the original actuator. Okay, you can see down there that I got it in place. It's fully seated. The trickiest part about it was trying to get the little pin to line up with the actual lock mechanism. Other than that, it wasn't too bad. So you don't have to take all that linkages out and all that stuff. At least I didn't. So now it's just going to be putting it all back together, reverse of what it was taken apart. I should also mention that I had to remove this wiring harness clip that faces the inside. It's this one right here. I just pushed it through so I had more play in the harness, but that's another little thing I had to do to make this little tricky way to do it work. And when I'm done with my butyl that I've used to put my door handle nuts back on safely, you can just pull it out of the socket and ball it up, and I stick it on the toolbox, inside the toolbox lid, to have it to use another time, and another and another. All right, I got the door panel back on. I haven't put the bolts in yet, but after you hang it, you just got to make sure that it's tight to the door all the way around, and that you haven't missed any of the little clip things that slip into slots on the inside of the door. Looks like we got them all. So I'm going to go ahead and put the two bolts back in, put my control panels on, and that should be it. All right, it's all back together, and let's give it a test. Nice. Look at that. Just like it's supposed to work. No more buzzing and not doing anything. Okay, yay, thumbs up for that. Okay, well, that went pretty good. It's all fixed. You know, I don't know why both of those other videos I watched, they took everything so far apart. Certainly don't have to. That did take me several hours, although I was doing quite a few other things in between. So now that I've done it before, if I went to do it again right now, because I know all the little steps I'd have to do without experimenting and, trying to figure it out, now I'd know. So I bet I could probably replace the actuator and the door of one of those trucks for probably 45 minutes or maybe even half an hour, because it's really not as hard as those other videos made it look. It really isn't. So, hey, stay safe, wash your hands, and as always, thanks for watching.